Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Yancy and this is my garden. I am in my garden today and I am going to give you a garden tour that you've been waiting for. Today I decided to give you guys like a grand garden tour just to show you everything that I am growing. I'm going to start from all the way at the top and take you all the way in the back. This is everything you see behind me is my main garden, but I also have some stuff growing on the side of my house and I am going to give you guys that grand tour so at least you can see what's going on here. And I hope you enjoy this video because a lot of you have been asking for it and I am so glad I could finally do it. This area over here is near my house. I have all of my potatoes in those bags. I'm sure you guys can recognize that is sweet potatoes. And then in these 3 bags right here, I have an assorted type of potato, the small little tiny potatoes. I don't have any like super large potatoes growing. Over here is a Rose of Sharon plant. My neighbor has a huge Rose of Sharon plant that has grown near her house, and these have been popping up everywhere. They're very invasive, so they have been popping up everywhere. So I said, you know what, let me just try to grow some and put it around my house too. Over here I have some tomatoes. So these are extra tomatoes that I didn't really need. I grew a ton of tomatoes and gave some away to family and friends. If you grow vegetables from seed, I'm sure you understand that you will probably end up growing a ton more than you really need in your garden, that your garden can handle. And I definitely did that, especially when it comes to tomatoes. I grow so many. So what I did was I had extra seedlings. I gave a lot of them to family and friends, and then these were the ones that were remaining, so I just threw them in this bed right here. Then over here, this is sweet potato leaves. So these are not going to actually grow the sweet potato. They're only here to grow the leaves because I eat the leaves and cook it in different dishes. A quick story about this bed. This bed was supposed to be for my garlic and onions. It was my first time growing garlic and onions, and what I didn't realize was the allium or allium leaf miners came through and basically decimated my entire garlic and onion bed. This was supposed to be all garlic and onion, and I had a ton of them growing, and the leaf miners basically destroyed every last one. I mean, not even a single one was saved. So I'm gonna start again this fall, and next time I am going to cover the bed because they were open. I did not have them covered. It was my first time, you know, trying to grow them, and did not realize all of the outer elements that love garlic and onions. I thought the pests didn't like them, but hey, that's okay. You live and you learn, and that's what gardening is all about. Is every day is a trial and error, and when you get it right, you get it right. So it's all good. I hope they enjoyed it, but next year I'm gonna be prepared for y'all. We're actually about to start heading towards my garden. Actually, I forgot to show you guys one more side of my house that have some fruits that I'm growing. So over here in these bags are supposed to be a bunch of fruits that I am growing. In here is supposed to be a blueberry, and these squirrels, like every time they try to grow, the squirrels come in and pretty much destroy it. So at this point, I don't even know if it's still alive, but I'm gonna keep it in here for a couple of months and see what happens, and hopefully it try to grow again. This right here is some grapes, and I bought some Concord grapes, and I bought like 3 different types of, actually maybe 4 different types of grapes this year. One of them is already on my trellis that I'm going to show you guys when I go into the garden, but this is one of them. Started off with, you know, something like this, and then it grew, and then this is supposed to be a grape as well. I don't know which one it is, but it's been a couple of months and it hasn't done anything, so I don't think it's gonna grow at all. And then this here is another grape. So next year, actually at the end of this season, I am going to put them on the other side of the trellis. This is supposed to be some grapes as well. I don't even, actually there's nothing in here, so I think the squirrels definitely pulled it out. Lucky me. So one of the biggest issues that I have in my backyard is I have a ton of animals, but mainly squirrels. and I have like a ton of trees and like bushes. I have a lot of animals that live in them, especially the squirrels and birds, and they definitely do their thing in my backyard, unfortunately. So I have to fight for my plants, y'all. So I'm not just fighting like it growing and it growing healthy, I'm fighting the animals. We're now heading towards the garden, and I am going to show you guys before we enter the garden. On the side of the fence, I have some crimson sweet watermelon growing on my fence, and it is in this bag right here. I have about 4 watermelon plants. So this is 1, there's 2 over there, 3 and 4 right here, and they're growing so beautifully. I have about 2 of them growing on my neighbor's side of the yard. This is the biggest one that I have in here, and then I have 1 on my side right here, and then there's another big one that's, I don't know if you guys can see it in there, that's growing over there. And so that's about 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 watermelons that has formed so far. I'm not sure if there are more growing, but the season is we still got a long season. So hopefully I get more watermelons coming. I need to water my plants. So if the soil looks dry, it's because I need to water. And after this video, I'm actually going to water my plants. And so in this bag right here, I have bitter leaf. They're curling up like this because it's been like so hot, and it doesn't matter how much I water, they're just not happy with the amount of heat, and they're curling up. I'm gonna harvest them soon and just keep watering, and hopefully, you know, that we don't have too many high temps. And then over in this same bag, I have some garlic in this bag. So this year, my soil that I used was soil that I composted from last year. Apparently I threw too many tomatoes in there because I have tomato plants popping up everywhere. I mean, look at this. This is a tomato plant that popped up in here. I had so many tomato plants pop up everywhere, different garden beds, but I decided to let this one stay and let it grow and, you know, see what happens. The more the merrier, I guess. So you guys be careful when you are composting. Do not throw seeds in your compost because it will pop up in your garden everywhere and places that you do not want it, and you are going to catch yourself trying to weed out all of the unwanted or volunteer plants in garden beds that you don't want it to be in. So don't be like me and don't throw seeds into your compost if you're composting. All right, so going along the fence, I have some jute leaf in here as well in this garden bed. And jute leaf is pretty much like a spinach that's kind of slimy. It's also known as Egyptian spinach, and I think a lot of different cultures eat this and they have different names for it, but I think a very popular name is Egyptian spinach and jute leaf. This is like spinach. You can eat it in salads. We are about to approach my garden. So this is my garden. Here is one entrance and there's another entrance over there. So we're going to start from here and then go around, and then we're going to exit through that entrance of the garden. So starting from here. This is a cattle panel that I bought from Tractor Supply, and I'm using it as a trellis for my grapes. This trellis that I bought was solely for my grapes, but as you saw, the last grapes that I just showed you guys, it just literally started growing. I didn't want to plant it in the ground right away. This grape was a mature grape that I bought, so I went ahead and put it in the ground. The ones that I just showed you guys in the grow bags were like just the cuttings, and now they're growing leaves. So that's why you see this one is so further along, because it was a more mature plant that I bought. And you could actually see some grapes on here. I actually had much more grapes, and the birds and their family decided to host a party near my grapes, and they had a great time and got really drunk and pretty much devoured all of my grapes. That's why you see I have them in these bags to try to save the ones that I was able to save, and that's all I'm gonna get this year. So I guess until next year and next year I'll be more prepared. So they are growing like crazy. I'm probably going to trim them. And since the other grapes weren't ready, I decided to put cantaloupes and sugar baby watermelons on the other side of this trellis. And these are my cantaloupes. So as you can see, I already have like a ton of cantaloupes coming. I have some more mature ones like these that I have provided a little support for with a pantyhose. And here's another one. They're getting so big. And here is my sugar baby watermelon. They haven't started like growing like that yet, but I'm sure it's gonna come soon. I just put the seed in there. It was an experiment that I decided to do. Was I just put a seed in there, and I put it in there last minute. Like these cantaloupes, I actually started them from seed indoors and then transplanted it outside. But the watermelon, I started them from seed out here. That's why it hasn't gone, you know, far, because I planted it not too long ago, just to see what was gonna happen and see if I could grow it. But on the other side of my trellis here, you'll see I have more cantaloupes in there. They're doing very well. They love this trellis, and I would tell anyone that is trying to grow like small melons, get yourself a trellis, because they love the trellis. They are so healthy on here. They're doing so well. The animals are not bothering them. I keep this on here to keep the animals away and at bay so that they don't disturb the roots, because like I said, I have some very dangerous squirrels in my garden. We are now entering my garden. Let's go. Alrighty. So on this side of my garden, that's more bitter leaf that I showed you guys that's in the grow bag. Is doing much better in the ground, and I'm sure it's because the plant is pulling some water from the ground. That's why they look a little bit healthier. As the one in the grow bag, I have to constantly water it so that it can gain more water, but this one, it might be pulling water from the ground, which is great. So next time I know to plant these in the ground for sure if I have space. And next to it, I have a blueberry bush. I plan on getting another blueberry bush at the end of the season. I'm going to remove that and put another blueberry bush here, because apparently they need two bushes to pollinate each other so that you could have more harvest. Next to it, I have my cassava plant, also known as yucca. I eat the leaves as well as the root. The cassava or yucca has a yam texture, or like potatoes, and is very dry, and it grows in the ground like potatoes, but you could also eat the leaves, unlike potatoes. You could definitely eat the sweet potato leaves, but regular potatoes, no. As you come into my garden, I have a little sitting area for when I have some things to do, or if I just want to come out here and enjoy all of what my garden has to offer. And then over here, I told you guys in like other videos that all of these plants were plants that I did not think were going to live. They were plants that was really struggling in the beginning of the season, and they were just very like limpy and not enjoying life. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, do not give up on your plants. They may look like they're not going to survive, but provide them the space to be able to thrive and allow them to do their thing. If you have to neglect it or whatever, just make sure you're watering it and giving it enough fertilizer, and it's gonna do its thing. So don't give up on your plants. But these were the ones that I gave up on, and look how much they have produced. I mean, unbelievable. Look at this. This is a bell pepper plant. To see this beautiful bell right here. And this is an okra plant, and I have more bell peppers back there. This is another bell pepper plant that is starting to flower. This right here was a squash plant, but the vine borers have gotten to it and destroyed it. And I think I'm gonna remove this. Apparently you can eat the leaves, but I'm gonna remove this and harvest the leaves and then replant some more squash, because it's still early on in the season where you could get a harvest if you start all over. And then over here I have some type of pepper. I'm not sure. It's like a lemon boy or something. I'm not too sure, but I got this plant from a neighbor who had too many and he was trying to get rid of it, and it was struggling. It was like really dry, and I revived it and got it back on its leg, and it's looked like it's starting to flower and want to produce. And then that is another plant of the same. And then over here, guess what? Another volunteer tomato that I did not plant, but because it was in my compost, it came. So I just decided to allow it to take over that grow bag, since the thing that I actually planted in there wasn't trying to grow. So I just allow it to take over that grow bag. And then over here is a habanero plant. And then back here, I have a bitterball plant. These are like baby eggplants, garden eggs. So I think in some cultures, they call it garden eggs. And then over here in this bag, I had radish and another squash that the borers destroyed. And I allowed the radish to go to flower so I could harvest their seeds. And I also allow it to go to flower because the bees love it. All of the pollinators love it. And look at all these seeds. Look at all these seeds that I am about to harvest. And then over here, I have a raspberry plant. So this one is the white or champagne raspberry. I see they have like little flowers. I don't really expect them to produce like that this year because they were kind of struggling. I'm glad now that it's in the ground and it can focus on getting a strong root system, and I expect like a better harvest next year, but it's doing okay over here. So I'm really in like the center of my garden. Like I would say this is like the center of my garden. Over here is where I have like a lot of the main stuff that I grow. And I just showed you guys, you know, the area that was struggling that is now thriving. So I'm about to show you guys the main area in my garden that's producing a lot. Over here in the middle of my garden is this bed, which is kind of a little bit chaotic. In here I have some strawberries that's down there. So let me tell y'all how your girl is very resourceful. Over here we garden on a budget, and gardening can get really expensive. So where you could cut the cost, go ahead and do it. Use what you got in your home and make it work. Let me tell you guys about this bed. So this garden bed over here is literally a box spring that we had for our mattress, and we didn't need the box spring because we didn't want our bed to be too high up, and we turned it into a raised garden bed. Last year we had potatoes growing in here. We had sweet potatoes on one side and we had regular white potatoes on this side. And this year I put strawberries down there on this side, and then on that side I put lettuce and spinach. So as you can see, you see how the box spring like has a divider like right there in the middle, and I use that divider to put strawberries on this side and then the lettuce and the spinach on this side. As you can see, the lettuce has went to flower. It's too hot for it, and I allow it to flower so I can collect the seeds, and then I'm going to remove it and then put some more hardy greens that can tolerate the heat over there later on. I'm trying to tell y'all, use what you got in your home to make it work. Gardening should not be the most costly thing. It is really good for your mental. So if you have something in your home that you could turn into a garden bed or turn it into something to work in your garden, do it. Okay, be resourceful. So what I'm gonna do is just go around to the back in my garden before I go back to the front or to the middle to show you guys what I have in the middle. So in the back of my garden, I have some corn over here that's growing in these grow bags, and they're doing fairly well, but we had a storm the other day and it knocked them all over. And if you saw my last video, you'll see basically what happened to my corn, but I brought them back up, and I am using some twine to pretty much help with support it, as well as this bird netting that I need to put back on here. I had to put that on there because we have these squirrels that like to terrorize our plants, and they love the corn. When they were younger, when the corn was younger, they used to pull it up and eat the roots. So I can't leave any of my garden bed unprotected. It doesn't matter what's in them, they're going to try to eat it. The only thing I could really leave alone are the tomatoes, because for some reason they don't really want it. I don't know. I guess they're tired of eating tomatoes. All my neighbors grow tomatoes. Then by the time they get back to my house, I guess they'll be full. So since we're by the corn and we're back here, I'll go ahead and show you guys my tomato bed. So this is my tomato bed. So I have my tomatoes back here as well. This is like the center of my garden. I have my tomatoes growing here. This raised bed was the first raised bed that I had, period, when I first started gardening. It's an 8x8 raised bed that I cut in half with those bricks so that I could plant something else on the other side, and then made this my tomato bed. This is where I get all of my tomatoes from. No, I'm kidding. I got tomatoes everywhere. But this is my main tomato bed, and I created like a little area for my tomato to thrive. So this is my tomato oasis. And I made sure not to plant everywhere, so I could create like a little path down there for me to be able to walk and come to harvest. As you look down below, I have some basil like sprinkled around in the tomato bed, you know, just to give the tomato a little bit of flavor. If you didn't know, planting your tomatoes with a lot of herbs flavor the tomato, and it tastes so good. You can literally taste the difference. I'm telling y'all, try it. Alrighty, so as we're in the center of the garden, this is my pepper bed. So right next to the tomatoes are the peppers, one of my favorite part of the garden. This is what it looks like. The tomatoes are back there and the pepper is down here, and I have a ton of peppers in this bed. I know you guys are gonna be like, oh my gosh, there's so many peppers in there, it's overcrowded. Trust me, it does not matter. Yes, it does. I was telling y'all, I literally grew way too many plants this year, started way too many seeds. I have given a ton of them away, and I still have a lot, which I'm grateful for. I wanted a lot, so I did a lot. I have a ton of pepper in here, and when I tell you, they're all, majority of them are producing. Some of them they still haven't flowered yet, and they're just taking their time. And I think one of the mistakes I made was I was following too many TikTok ideas where they tell you to like pinch off the peppers and stuff like that. The issue is my peppers were already matured, the root system were already matured, and I still pinched them off, and now, you know, so they could focus on root growth. And I think I didn't need to do that for mine because they were very, very mature because of how long I started my pepper plants. But it's okay because they are like, you know, they have gotten like really, really bushy, and I think they're about to start flowering for some of them. I have other ones that already is flowering, and I have like a group of them that is producing a lot of peppers already. So either way, I'm fine. I guess it's more like a succession planting at this point, you know, in my garden. This one is producing, and the ones that are not producing yet, they're going to produce later, which is fine. That means I'll continuously get pepper throughout the entire summer. I'm so excited. I don't care how many plants I have in here, they're doing very well. They're all very healthy, and it started with a struggle, but they're much better now, and I'm super excited. These are all my peppers. This right here is bell pepper plants. I have a lot of bell pepper plants in here, and then I have a lot of habaneros in here. You could tell, you know, by their leaves and the difference in their leaves with the bell peppers. And I think I have some bell peppers that's already grown in here. Let's see, where you at? Where you at? Hey, did somebody eat my bell pepper? I know there's one in here somewhere. Oh, it's getting heavy. Here's my bell pepper right here. I need to stake this because it is getting heavy, and now it's like falling over. So I need to stake a lot of these peppers because they are going to start getting like super heavy, especially the bell peppers. They need a little bit of support, and I am going to do that probably tomorrow. And then I have my habaneros. Like I told you guys, they are all producing in here. They're doing very well. I'm gonna allow them to pretty much, you know, get some color, and then I will harvest them. It's a lot in there. And then right in the middle of pepper bed, I have a whole eggplant plant. Don't ask me why it's there. I was following somebody's advice, of course, on the internet, because the internet is always right? The internet is real. They said that if you're having issues with your peppers being eaten by slugs or whatever, especially when they're super young in their growth, is to put a eggplant in the middle of your pepper plants, and the bugs are going to be distracted by these lush leaves and I guess gravitate towards it and eat it. But to be honest with you guys, when I did that, these were the healthiest amongst all of my pepper. I did not see a change, and I don't even think the bugs even bit eggplant at all. I don't even think they were interested in my eggplant. They didn't even bite it. So they were the healthiest one in the entire pepper bed, which is quite crazy. As we go along, here are some other peppers. These are like Asian peppers. I got these from the Asian store. They're supposed to be like Asian hot peppers, but they don't taste hot to me. They actually taste like bell peppers to me, and they get pretty big. These like super long ones. So this is like the thicker ones, and then I have like the skinny ones that look like cayenne pepper. They're not spicy. I tried them and they're not spicy at all. So you can see I have a lot of peppers that I need to harvest today. They are everywhere. When I tell y'all they are everywhere, I have pepper galore. So because I'm growing the tomato on like a trellis behind the pepper, is kind of providing like a little bit of shade for the peppers, because it's been extremely hot. My tomatoes definitely have been struggling, but my peppers have been doing much better. Like it's been doing way better than the tomatoes, and I'm thinking it's because the tomatoes are providing like a shade for the peppers. My peppers are looking so sad. It's time for me to water them, guys. Don't look at the sadness of them. They're gonna be revived. It's been really hot. I've been having to water like twice a day, and the plants that's in the grow bags have been struggling more than the plants that's actually in the ground. But what I do is I put like these bottles in here. These are wine bottles that I fill with water or like some fertilizer mixed with water, and I put them in there to help keep the plants hydrated, and it works like a drip system. So I need to get a bottle for this bag. You know what that means, right? I got to drink a little bit more wine so I could be able to get the bottles to provide some nutrients to my plants. It's not me, it's for my plants. I got to do what I got to do. You got to do what you got to do for your plants for it to survive. So if that means you have to drink more wine so you can use the bottles as a drip system for your plant, do what you got to do, okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Don't judge me, y'all. I'm doing it for my plants. Anyway, regardless of the sadness, you see that these are bell peppers that I'm really shocked that are coming in. If you see any peppers in the bag, that's because they were the ones that were struggling, and I did not think that they were actually going to survive. But you know, I still provided them what they needed to try to help them survive. This is a habanero pepper. As you can see, they do much better with dry soil, and I think it's because they're hot. I mean, they're kind of sad too, but look how much better their leaves look versus these. So I think they enjoy the dryness, and that's one thing about like spicy peppers. I think they enjoy the dryness of the soil. They don't mind it, but you still have to water them. And then in here, very sadly, was another squash plant that the borers got and devoured it. As you can see over here, how tragic. And then I have some radish in here, and they look like they want to go to flower, so I'm gonna harvest this today so it doesn't go to flower, because I already have a lot of radish flowers. Like you can see this one, this was another radish that went to flower, and you can see all the seeds on them. And then over here I have some kale that is struggling, and I think it wants to go to flower, but it's still pulling along. Alrighty, so now we're leaving the center of my garden, and we're going to the other side of my garden. And this side of my garden have been proven to be a struggle because I have a lot of trees over here that's kind of blocking the sun. It's still managing to grow. So this bed right here is another 8x8 bed that I divided in half, and one side I have some plants growing, and then on the other side I have some plants growing. So over here in this bed I have some okra. This is where I have majority of my okra growing. These okra that's in here, I did not start them in the house. I actually direct sowed them in here and started from seed a couple of weeks ago, and they're doing pretty well. I separated the okra with this little fence in here, and I had corn growing in here. As you can see, it is struggling because the animals have been pretty much attacking this garden bed. They have been attacking the corn. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna leave this for them and allow them to do their thing, as long as they're leaving my other corn alone. As you can see, the corn that's in a grow bag is doing much better than the one that's in the raised bed. So I guess you could say this is the animal garden of some sort. Y'all can have it. Look what they did to my corn. Before I had this around it, I had like bird netting around it, and they did not care. They used their little fingers and would go through the bird netting like this and like snatch the plant and pretty much eat it at its roots. And that's what destroyed. Like, these corn should be way further along than the ones that's in the bag. I should have been getting like corn from this one like right now, because I started these in the house and they were very mature. But thanks to my lovely animals that I got back here, my residents that's paying no rent to me, but hey, I guess we're all sharing this property. So I am going to head back towards the back of my garden so you can see this bed right here. So in this bed, I usually call it a bed of horrors, but it seems like it's doing much better. Originally, I had these brassicas in here. I'm not sure what they are. They might be collars. I have no clue what this is, but this is a plant I got from my neighbor like in March. And those butterfly caterpillars basically decimated them in the beginning, and it was just a tough plant to grow. And I think the reason was because I did not have like an insect netting over it, and I really wasn't taking care of it the way I needed to. But it seems like it's bouncing back. I mean, we love a good bounce back. Look at that, it is bouncing back. So back there I have some celery, and it is growing. Wow. So I've literally had these plants in here for like months, like literally since March I've had this in here, and it seems like it's finally trying to do something. And I guess all the caterpillars that was eating these plants have turned to butterflies. And I just had a whole bunch of crap in here. I even had peas at one time, snap peas in here that I already harvested. And then I had all this space over here, and I decided to put in some more sweet potato leaves like the one I showed you guys earlier that's near my house. These are the same sweet potato leaves that I'm gonna harvest and cook. They're not gonna produce any kind of sweet potatoes. I'm just using this for the leaves because we eat them. I am about to take you guys back to the front of my garden so you can see the other entrance. So we just did an entire exploration of my garden, and we started from that entrance over there and went all the way back there, and then came here, and then we did these, and now you guys are about to see this other entrance that has this trellis. And then you will be able to see what I have over there, which is my herb garden. Righty, very sadly in this bed, which seems like it's struggling a little bit, I have some more garlic in here. This is the garlic in here. They're all just an experiment because the leaf miners decimated the other one, and then I went ahead and planted some more garlic. I don't know. I guess what it's doing for me is keeping the pest away and nothing more, because I don't think it's anything much is going to come from here. I also had dill in here. As you can see, the animals have devoured it. Actually, the birds love the dill. And then I also have some more radish in here, as you can see. And then I have some cucumbers that's growing over here, but they're not really doing well because I haven't seen any female flowers at all. It's all male flowers that I'm seeing. I don't know if it's the heat that's doing this, but yeah, the cucumbers are struggling. And then I have more tomatoes here on this trellis. Look at how cute this is. This is the cutest little tomato ever. I cannot wait to see what it looks like and tastes like. I think this is the black trim tomato. I'm not too sure, but guess we'll find out. Oh my gosh, something keeps eating my tomato. Look at that. I did not even see that. You see what I'm saying when I say that these animals really be attacking? Like, what in the world could have taken like a huge bite of this tomato? This is a huge bite. What in the world? Okay, I am harvesting all my tomatoes today, y'all. The birds or whatever in the world that is, I cannot believe something. It looked like something came here and took a huge bite, and something did the same thing to my other tomatoes. So it looked like an animal that could stand up and hold it and take a bite. That is crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, I am absolutely harvesting today, and at least hopefully they enjoyed it, because that will be the last bite for now. And then what's so crazy to me is, why not eat the whole thing? Why just go around taking bites out of everything? I don't understand. Like, seriously, can you guys tell me what could have made this bite? This is crazy. And this looked like a huge bite. That is so scary. What in the world is out here? Now I'm getting scared. Oh my god. Alright, so we also have some beans in here. I don't know what kind of beans these are. I just put them in there. Got it from my neighbor. She has some bean seed. Not exactly sure what kind of beans it is, but put them in there. We'll see what it is when it grows. On this other side of my trellis, I have more tomatoes. And I'm about to show you guys the thing that's taking like a huge bite out of these tomatoes. Like, it is really crazy, because I have a really big tomato here as well that they have taken a huge bite out of. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Like why even, why not just eat the whole thing? And what animal could have a jaw big enough to take a huge bite like this? This is crazy. I'm gonna leave it in here, and I'm gonna grow tomatoes in this bed next year anyway, so it could volunteer itself. I'm not putting that in my compost and then risk having like a ton of tomatoes growing everywhere. Don't mind me, I'm just weeding. I have tomatoes growing in here and they're doing their thing. And then also in this bed, I had a lot of herbs. So as you can see, these coriander seeds, I had cilantro in here, and when they started to get hot, they flowered and went to seed. I am about to harvest these seeds very, very soon. I cannot wait, because I'm gonna use that next year. And then I have some basil as well in here, and I have rosemary in here. I have cilantro as well in here, and then this is oregano, and then I had dill that went to flower after the birds devoured it. And then I also had some marigolds in here that's trying to do its thing, but it's still struggling a little bit. And then I have some strawberries that's hanging over here doing its thing. It hasn't started to fruit or produce any kind of flowers. Hopefully it will soon. And then over here is my herb garden, my beautiful herb garden. These herbs have grown like so much. I've harvested so much from it, and the more you harvest, the bushier it gets, which is so crazy and exciting at the same time. But remember how I told you guys in my compost had a lot of tomato seeds? Look what I just found in here. Look at this. This is a tomato, and I just saw another one. This is a tomato, and this is a tomato. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. I have tomatoes growing everywhere in here, as well as like the grass weeds. They're everywhere. I have to keep pulling them up. Ooh, this bed smells amazing. It smells great. When you come to this side of my garden, it smells so wonderful. This would be a perfect place to have a seat. I'm sure you could get a lot of healing from here. Oh my gosh, look at another tomato plant in here, y'all. Look at this. This is another tomato plant. Let me pull this out. This is grass. How crazy is that? So I have regular basil over here, and then I have some purple basil over there, and then I have lemon basil right here. I guess you could tell I really love basil, huh? Oh my gosh, look at another tomato plant. Look at another tomato plant. That is so crazy. They're everywhere. When I come to harvest some of this herbs, I'm probably going to get rid of a lot of the tomato plants, but I might leave like 1 or 2 in there, because can you imagine what that tomato is going to taste like grown in an herb bed like this one? It is going to be so delicious. I have oregano in here. This is thyme. What else? Some marigolds in here. What is this? Oh, I can't remember, but it looked like thyme or oregano. I have no clue, but I think that's what it is. I think it's oregano. And then of course I have some dill that went to flour. And then I have some parsley in here. I had some radish in here, and look how big it got. It went to flower, and this is it right here. The flowers are so beautiful. So I'm gonna have like a ton of radish seeds. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this radish seed. I'm gonna see if some people want some. But look at this beautiful butterfly that just flew on here. They love this radish flower. Hi, beautiful butterfly. How perfect is this while I'm filming? So I have some lavender in here, some chamomile, and I also have some onions in here that I started from seeds. I don't know how well it's gonna do because it's just so crowded in here, but we'll see. So yeah, guys, this is my herb garden. And then right next to it, I have a bag that's filled with a bunch of seeds. These are, oh my gosh, did it fall out? Something's been eating the seeds? No way. No freaking way. Oh, I need to harvest these seeds ASAP. Something's been eating them. Oh, wow. Look at these. Like, everything came out of the pods, the seed pods. Oh, wow. They're coming out. I need to harvest these. But these are arugula seeds. I have arugula grown in here. Oh, that is so crazy. Right below my herb bed, I have some mint in here, and then I have some pepper in here that is probably struggling because radish flower fell on it. So I need to get this together and fix it and get it off of this pepper so that it can grow. And this is another pepper. I told you guys all the peppers in the bags are peppers that I did not think were going to survive, but they're all flowering and doing their thing, and I am super excited. But look at all this mint. What am I gonna do with all this mint, y'all? Give me some ideas. Give me some ideas of what I should cook for y'all with all of this basil and all of these herbs. It's so exciting. All right, guys, that concludes the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed my gardening tour, and I hope it gave you some inspiration to grow your own food. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel and like this video if you're here right now. That means you made it all the way to the end, and I love you for that. Catch me in the next video if you want to see all of the goodies that I get to harvest from the garden today. So remember, you're exactly where you're meant to be, especially if you're here right now with me. If you don't like being ashy, watch the next video. I promise you, you're going to be moisturized and you're going to love how it smells. All right, bye, y'all. Happy gardening. Your new bestie.
MarthaLorine Signature Luxurious Body Butter is packed with all natural skin-loving ingredients such as cocoa butter, coconut oil, shea butter, vitamin E oil, and baobab oil. Whipped to perfection, it is lightly made to be easily absorbed into the skin without clogging your pores. This body butter is free of parabens, sulfates, and synthetic fragrances.
Your new bestie.